Hello, welcome everyone. We got a quick last minute scheduled special event here at Story Trading. We're going to be talking about TPCS. First, a quick disclaimer. Story Trading is not an investment advisor. That goes for all of our guests. Investing in securities involves significant risk of loss. This is a live free event open to the public. We will be posting the recording on social media. For those of you not familiar, what is a story trade? Story trading is the art of understanding market pricing, also known as a story behind the trade, through the lens of the four pillars of fundamentals, catalysts, sentiment, and technicals. We have an app coming up very soon, which will be the place to discover, collaborate, and validate market moving information through crowdsourced research and social collaboration. So make sure to go to our website and sign up for the wait list so you can get into our private beta. Got lots of VIP picks. TPCS is one of them. You can go to our website and check it out. Another one, which is a VIP pick, which got us a lot of notoriety recently, is Air Test Systems, AEHR. They both happen to be picked by Ashleigh Day, who's on the call with us right now. You'll be hearing from Air did really, really well, got us a lot of attention, and we have lots and lots of people interested in submitting their ideas to Story Trading. So their stock can be the next VIP pick. So we establish a vetting process for that. You can go to storytrading.com/submit to submit your VIP pick idea. Now, turning to TPCS, last trade, well, I don't know what it's at right this second, but it was 214 when I made this presentation like an hour ago. And $63 million market cap. And this pick is up 37% since Ashleigh presented it on May 31st. And Mark Gomes, who's here with us, he's very knowledgeable on TPCS as well, has given us a bunch of presentations as well outside of that official VIP pick presentation. So before we turn it over to you, Mark, just a couple of things. What we try to do is understand the chart at TPCS. We're not doing that today. That's not our focus. It's not a VIP presentation, but that is the goal, through the four pillars of fundamentals, catalyst, sentiment, and technicals, to really understand the price action, which can help you make better informed trade and investment decisions. So with that, why are we here? There was an article on Seeking Alpha this morning from Gold Panda, a bear position out there, but this really caught my eye. On the summary, it said there could be significant retail investor interest if the company is popular on social media websites. I'm like, what? Like, is that a reason to be bearish on a stock? Like, what the heck is that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So I scanned it a little further, and then I saw, as he was talking about that, he said he called out Story Trading. It's a VIP pick from a social investing platform. I'm like, really? You're shorting or you're bearish on something just because of that? Now, if it happens to be a bearish thesis and solid, that's great. But like, you look kind of foolish saying that's one of your reasons. Like, you shouldn't just follow someone or be do the opposite of someone just because. Like, that's kind of weird. So I wanted to give an opportunity to, I'm going to stop my share and give an opportunity for kind of a rebuttal. Again, this was Ashleigh's VIP pick, but Mark really knows a ton about this stock. So we'll let Mark take the lead, and Ashleigh, feel free to jump in whenever you'd like. So go ahead. What's your rebuttal to the article, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I generally won't rebuttal other people's work. We can do that today and, for your platform. But there's a lot of bad work out there. So if I rebutted every piece of bad work that came out, I wouldn't have time to find any picks. Let's just preface with that. But today's special case, the first thing that jumps out about this when I look into this, I don't think this is necessarily, a bad guy trying to crash the stock. What I see is this is a guy from Bulgaria. He's a writer working out of Bulgaria, and he writes an article basically every day for Seeking Alpha. Now, if you know anything about Bulgaria, the amount of money you can make writing an article for Seeking Alpha every day is pretty good. So I would think of this as more of a job for him than actually a passion of finding good stocks. Let's start with that. Okay. Now, next, when you actually look at his article, a couple things jump out, and I'm just kind of looking at the notes here. First point, he said that in 2019, the company said it was pursuing $100 million worth of opportunities over the next 24 months. Well, 24 months after 2019 sounds like 2021 to me. And we just talked about the $100 million worth of opportunities that they are now getting. They spoke about this on the M&A call. They talked about the submarines that they're getting. They talked about the helicopters that they're getting. They actually, for a company that is non-promotional, right? And this is important because this author has a reputation for picking companies that are very that come under promotional fire, right? They spike their pumps, and a lot of these companies end up doing raises shortly afterwards. And I noticed one of the companies there was a company that I actually made money on the short side. I was like, all right, good job, young man. You found a crappy company that got pumped, and you put an article out about it. Beautiful. But the thing is you can't really do an analysis every day on a company. So in this particular case, I can see where he thought, well, the stock is up a lot, and they don't have a lot of revenue, and they made this promise 2 years ago, and you just don't think about it too much because you're trying to crank out an article in one day. I can't do that. I've been doing this for 30 plus. I'm probably been doing this for longer than this guy is old. He probably hasn't been on the planet as long as I've been doing this. So you just can't do that. But anyways, if he thought about it a little bit, he might have realized that the $100 million worth of opportunity that they said they were pursuing in 2019 over the next 24 months is exactly what happened. They're actually working with that. And let's not forget, there was a little something like called COVID that got in the way of all this. So that was number one. Number two data point he puts is the quarterly revenue showed just 3 million. Well, no kidding. Like the orders that they're getting for the helicopters and the submarines and all that, they've got to deliver on those orders before it turns into revenue. Air just got like 50 million in orders last quarter. In total, 40 to 50 million in orders, and the stock went from 3 to 20. Why? Because we know that all those orders are going to turn into revenue in the future. And we know those are orders. It's easy to see that that's going to be revenue. So the stock is up in anticipation of that revenue. So why would you worry about a backward looking measure for a company that is already telling us that in the forward looking view that they've got these submarine orders, that they've got these helicopter orders. And this is a guy that he won't even tell us the full truth. And he's willing to tell us this. When this guy speaks, you should listen, because he's not promotional at all. He's the opposite of promotional. We could stop there for a second if you want to, chime in or ask a question. And
Sure. Yeah, let me just offer that, I've been following this stock for a couple of years in the community, and definitely since Ashleigh put it up as a VIP pick. And I personally got more interested when it broke the $1.75 resistance a bit ago. And
Right.
we had the catalyst of this merger kind of finishing up. There were some questions and doubt how that was going to happen. So that for me, at least as a trade, that turned out to be the right choice to go overweight at $1.75. We're sitting here at 214 now, and maybe going past the SA article now. What are your thoughts on where this can go? I know that you've on your website, you've circulated some kind of posts that a lot of people are excited about. If you'd like to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Mark Gomes stocks.wordpress.com, 2 S's in the middle, Mark Gomes stocks.wordpress.com. You can see the article up there. And it gives a full analysis of all the submarines, all the helicopters, everything the company said, quoting the company itself out of transcripts, and then doing the math on exactly how much they get per helicopter, how much they get per submarine. And you run up the math, and what you come up with is, over the next several years, they're going to be ramping up 40, 60, 80, possibly 100 million. I didn't quite get, comfortable with $100 million number yet, but it is feasible that they're going to do that. And their historical margins on that stuff. And you have to understand their margin structure, because they've got a lot of equipment. A lot of it is depreciated down to nothing. That's cool. That's fine. If you actually, I know people who have been in their facilities and can verify that the equipment that has been depreciated down to zero, still 100% in working order. And if you know about accounting, what that means is when you've depreciated an asset that is still 100% in working order, your margins go up, because you're not adding depreciation to your cost of goods sold. So I won't bore you with the rest of the details, but that's just to let you know that I know what I'm doing with this. I've been following the stock for over 10 years. And the bottom line is looking forward, right? And that's how we calculate the value of a company, is the discounted future cash flows. When I was doing that calculation, you got a company that can do upwards of 100 million in revenue a few years down the road, with about 35% gross margins. My initial thought was 40. I had to bring that down, okay? Because of the mix, helicopters don't make as much as submarines. Their SG&A does not have to rise. They don't need salespeople. They get these contracts and they execute against them. It's just really cost of goods sold is the major thing. So ultimately, after all that, down at the bottom line, you can count on them doing a good $20 million in net income down the road, right? Give it a 20p, that's $400 million market cap. The market cap right now is only what, about 60? So you're talking about a 6-7 bagger from here.
Six,
right?
7 bagger. Wow. That's news. That's a statement, man. We're at $2.14 and you think this stock can go to 12 to 14 bucks?
Right. That's the math. And it's not tomorrow. Right. But, for a company that can be $12 or $14 a few years from now, right, you have to discount that back to today to figure out what it should be worth today, because between where it is now at 3-4 million in quarterly revenue to where it's going to, which is going to be, I think it's very much going to be 20 million, if not 25 million in quarterly revenue. There's a path. You go from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 to 25 per quarter, right? And you base your valuation on that future, right? So right now, at this moment, I think the stock should be definitely double or triple what it is right now. So to buy the stock at 2 is, to me, it's a bargain. And you look at my track record and you'll see that I do have a track record for picking companies right before they have inflection points. And this is an inflection point. They got the helicopter orders, they got the submarine orders that we've been waiting for a couple of years now, right? And they told a couple of years ago that's what they were pursuing, and boom, here we are a couple of years later and they're delivering on it. And I don't know, for some reason this guy didn't understand that 24 months means 2 years, and 2 years plus 2019 equals 2021.
Yeah. Well, I'm all about those inflection points. That's the benefit of understanding the history of a stock and the chart to identify that. Let me ask you this. So I'm going to channel the what I think is going to be the perception of the masses and retail, and what I've been hearing from people is this. When you talk about those orders with Air, it was very easy to see that. You go to their website, there's a press release. It talks about, that we're going to get significant orders. It almost quantifies it for you. It's easy to figure out that the inflection point is there. With TPCS, you go to the website and honestly, it looks like a piece of crap that was built like 50 years ago before the internet was even created. And then you have, in terms of transparency, it's not easy you talk about all these orders. I don't know, maybe that information is in the conference call about the Statco merger, but you don't see like a headline, of we're getting these helicopter orders. So to me, that's a significant kind of strike against this stock where a lot of people may not invest. So do you see that changing? Yeah, do you see a catalyst coming up where the company will become more transparent, maybe update their website? Because to me, that's when, even though I know it sounds superficial and kind of, crazy, but to me, that's when the value of the stock might really get unlocked.
Yeah, of course. And that's a good point, right? I actually like when I see things like this, when I see a company with a poor website, poor communication, all that stuff, if I think it can change, right? And that's exactly what's happening. As part of this transaction with Statco, they put out a very detailed press release, something that we haven't really seen from them before. They talked about how many helicopters in their conference call they're going to do from the helicopters. Now you can there's an older press release from Statco, which by the way has a nicer website. If you go to the Statco website, you'll see a nicer website. And they used to do, good news where they would show, we got an order, a 15-year order for $300 million. I knew how many helicopters that was, and you do the math and it works out to 1.5 million per helicopter. And they said in the M&A call that they're going to do 24 helicopters per year. Well, 24 times 1.5 is 36 million. So that's easy, right? Now, so Statco has a good reputation for having been very transparent with investors. TPCS, not so much. But as part of this deal, when you do an M&A deal, and they did raise a little bit of money as part of that deal, right? You have an investment banker that does that, right? And I know that the investment banker has a history and a reputation for making sure that the company is better in their investor relations. Okay, so that's one sign. I know large shareholders who have been speaking with the company for a long time and said that they are finally listening and that they are going to change their IR structure. And 3, I've heard that the board of directors put a lot of pressure on the CEO to become more investor friendly. Now, since that
That's
time,
all great. Yeah.
it's all great news,
Yeah.
right? Since that time, they did put out that great M&A press release. If you read it, you'll see for yourself. Read their old press releases and then read their new one, and you see the big difference already. If you listen to the M&A conference call, you see a big difference between that and their past conference calls. And now I'm also hearing the website's going to be updated. We're already seeing the RR getting better, and not only that, but an uplisting. So
that's a great catalyst. That's always a great catalyst.
Right. So I hear that they've met all the criteria for an up, minus the stock price, and they can do a reverse split if they want to, or the stock price can just get there on its own. And from what I understand, that they're going to uplist as soon as as early as convenient for them. Right. So they're actually dealing with getting the people together from the merger and stuff, and whatever, if it takes months or whatever, they're looking to uplist.
Do you know what the minimum price requirement is for that?
$5.
Okay, great. Ashleigh, got any comments over there? Hopefully you could hear through all the background noise there, LD. Okay, so we're going to, and Ashleigh couldn't really find a quiet spot where he is at LD Micro, but yeah, I'm sure he shares a lot of the same sentiment with you. We have a couple videos on our YouTube channel on TPCS. We're going to keep this a short event because I know Mark, you're busy on the ground there at LD Micro. Okay, so we're just going to, any final thoughts, Mark? Any final comments?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, the article was kind of shallow. Nothing against the guy. I can see the work that he's done, and he does a little bit of work, and that kind of work works when you find a real pump. You can, if you see the checklist there, I can analyze a pump in a day. But if it's not a pump, if you don't have all the checks, all the check boxes checked, then it takes months. Okay. And in this particular case, he barked up the wrong tree. The analysis that I have is out there. I provided you with some of that here. There were a few other things that he put into his analysis talking about, how much paid for Stadco. He complained that they ended up paying more than originally stated for the company. Well, so what? They paid a little bit more because the company's worth a lot more. They got all these orders for helicopters. You just bought a company for, $10 million or so, $10-15 million, and they have $36 million per year of helicopter orders alone on one program.
It's amazing.
Right. It's exactly, so of course you're going to pay more for it. If somebody said, my buddy told me he was going to buy air 2 months ago for $3 and he ended up paying $5 for it. He paid more for it. That's bad news. Yeah, it's bad news. The stock's 20 now, Jack. It's in a lot of his arguments didn't make much sense. Right. Didn't make much sense. Looks good on paper, but don't make much sense.
Okay, cool. Looks like we got Ashleigh on video. Did you want to chime in with your thoughts, Ashleigh?
I think Mark covered everything pretty well. I just reiterate that the Seeking Alpha story was really, looking backwards, and kind of you miss the inflections in these companies and what's really going on. If you look backwards and obviously beyond just the recent PR, I mean, you saw we learned more in that PR and the conference call that ensued about the company than perhaps we've learned from any of the last several years of conference calls. And you can see that, they're ordering a ton of helicopters. There's a lot going on there. So it just doesn't seem that there's anything that's really supported from that article when you look at their future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to point out that the price action here on the stock, it's holding strong. It's up 3 cents at 214. It's not every day you see a bear article on Seeking Alpha with a very small market cap and it's not immediately hammered. I had an intraday low of 206, but I think this is a testament to the knowledge and the conviction that the current shareholder base has between StoryTrading and Ashleigh's followers and Mark Gomes' followers. Really well educated on this stock, strong conviction, and Seeking Alpha bear piece didn't do much damage to that today. Just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, Good point.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Ashleigh and Mark, for your time. You guys hang on. We're going to share our screen, share a couple more information about upcoming events with you. Also want to let you know, if you're a VIP member at StoryTrading, you can join our TPCS research group and collaborate with Mark, Ashleigh, and all our other smart people on TPCS. We have lots of events coming up. I believe our next, today, wow, lots of things. 4:30, I got to prepare for that. We got the CEO of QC Copper and Gold. The second time is coming back. It's a VIP pick from Chris Hampton. It's already up 100%. They recently did an offering. We're going to find out what they're going to use that money for, what the upcoming catalysts are, and how much potential upside might remain. That was a VIP pick at 17 cents. It's now about 34 cents. He'll be on at 4:30. That's an exclusive event for subscribers only. Then Thursday, tomorrow, we have a representative on the ground at LD Micro. James T. Knorr is going to give an update on his experiences at LD Micro and what the chatter is going on there and what he's finding at LD Micro. Please follow us on YouTube and Twitter. Help us get the word out and expand the reach of our community. Thank you, guys, everyone, for joining. We'll see you next time.